Good Thursday morning, everybody, and welcome back. It's December 17th, and since, as I mentioned, it's Thursday, that means we have drive-through communion tonight. So if you're one of those folks that likes to take advantage of drive-through communion, please remember that starting tonight, we are shortening the time window down. It's from 5 to 5:15, south side of the church, over by the chapel doors, roughly by the south doors to the sanctuary to the chapel doors, somewhere in that area. I'll be standing out on the street there, giving out communion this evening, but from 5 to 5:15, not to 5:30. So shortened it up a bit so pastor doesn't freeze to death, is what Clint said. And I appreciate Clint's thoughtfulness. So at any rate, we are now diving into the 15th chapter of Luke's Gospel. And the 15th chapter is, or 15th chapter, excuse me, the 15th chapter of Luke is my favorite chapter in the Gospel of Luke, which Luke is my favorite gospel. And it also happens to be probably I would have to say it is my favorite chapter in the entire Bible. Love chapter 15. And we'll find out why as we go through the next couple days. Today we're going to talk about the parable of the lost sheep and the parable of the lost coin. I think I'm going to divide the prodigal son into two parts. We'll talk about that in the morning, and then we'll talk about it on Saturday morning, I believe. That's my intention at this point. I'm also going to pre-record tomorrow's message sometime later this afternoon, so that Clint can put it up in the morning, because I have to be out and about early in the morning tomorrow doing some other things, have other commitments. Once in a while that happens. And so I'm going to put that on I'll load it up to YouTube later tonight. So if you want to cheat and watch it on my YouTube channel later tonight, I'm not sure exactly how much later I'll put it up, probably before 5. But at any rate, it'll be up there at some point today. If you want to cheat and jump ahead and watch tomorrow's today, time travel into the future. We all travel into the future, though. It's time travel into the past. That's the secret and the mystery. So with that, let's start off chapter 15 of Luke's Gospel. First, verses 1 through 10 is what we're going to cover today. And we'll take the first part of the prodigal son tomorrow, I believe, and then the final part of it on Saturday, like I said. So here we go. Now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near to listen to him. And the Pharisees and the scribes were grumbling and saying, "This fellow welcomes sinners and eats with them." So he told them this parable: "Which one of you, having 100 sheep and losing one of them, does not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after the one that is lost till he finds it? When he has found it, he lays it on his shoulders and rejoices. And when he comes home, he calls together his friends and neighbors, saying to them, 'Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep that was lost.' Just so I tell you, there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who need no repentance. Or what woman, having 10 silver coins, if she loses one of them, does not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? When she has found it, she calls together her friends and neighbors, saying, 'Rejoice with me, for I have found the coin that I had lost.' Just so I tell you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents." Okay. And remember, we've been talking about the Pharisees, and up until yesterday, the first part, as we went through chapter 14, a lot of it was Jesus sitting to eat with the Pharisees, right? And kind of admonishing them during those meals. And now here, right away in chapter 15, we see the Pharisees admonishing Jesus because this fellow welcomes sinners and eats with them. Well, yeah, in fact, he was just a chapter ago sitting with sinners and eating with them. You Pharisees, hypocrites, which we're all hypocrites. Okay, not all the Pharisees were bad. So don't think I'm saying that, but I'm saying that be careful when you point a finger, because there's several more pointing back at you, right? Only God gets to point fingers. We don't. So here we go. With that, let's look at the woman first, and then we'll look at the sheep next. The woman looking for the lost coin. You have to remember, this is probably part of her wedding veil. Okay, this is what they believe. They had coins sewn into the wedding veil, and that was part of their dowry. Okay, so to lose one of those is very emotionally, it would be significant. Financially, it would be significant as well. But we have to remember that she's lost it in the home, it believes, and so she's going to light a lamp and sweep the house and look for it somewhere in the home. Their houses didn't have nice hardwood floors or even carpet. Or anything like that. Most likely, this is a dirt floor. Might be some thatch or some straw thrown on the floor to provide some kind of a softer footing, I guess. But that would only complicate the issue if there were straw on the floor, right? It'd make it all the more difficult to find that coin. Difficult enough on a dirt floor where the dust could easily be kicked up over it. And that's why she's sweeping, looking for it. Very difficult to find it. Very easily for that coin to get lost, that precious thing, very easy for it to get lost. Just like these precious things to God, very easy for us to be enthralled by the dirt of the world and to become covered with the thatch and the dirt. And thankfully, God has perfect 20/20, 10/10 vision and can find us if He gets there and looks for us. And of course, it's up to us to respond and to stay there. But then we're back to the parable of the sheep, which I find a little more meaningful for us and a little easier to commentary on. Let's put it that way. I think it was yesterday, I believe, I posted on my Facebook page a video of a young father, had twin daughters, okay, and they look like they're just beginning to walk. And he's trying to get them, it appears, trying to get them ready for bed, trying to get their pajamas on them and change their diapers and put the pajamas on them. And he's got two of them there, and as he's working on one, the other is trying to wander off. And as he's working on the other is trying to wander off. And so he's constantly reaching and pulling and trying to pin down one with his knee, or I think he actually uses his foot on top of one of them for a while, which doesn't sound good, but he's not crushing her. He's trying to hold them down and constantly in motion because one after another is trying to move away. And this is the thing we have to remember about this story of the 99 and the 1. We like to think of ourselves as those 99, don't we? We're not straying away. We're staying with the pack. We're all good, Jesus. We're okay. We're not going nowhere. But the reality is we're like those two little twins. There's constantly one wandering off from the pack, except there's 99. There's 100 of them. There's always one trying to break away. And of course, thankfully, God's omnipotent, and so He's pulling from all directions, trying to bring those lost sheep home, constantly grabbing and moving and working. And there's the point. We are like those little children. We don't realize we're getting ourselves into trouble so often. The little ones are on the bed, and if they wander too far, they're going to fall off the bed, right, and off the edge. And we don't know, as we're going through this world, we don't realize we're close to that, falling off that edge. We just are meandering along. Oh, look at how wonderful it is up here. Look at all the pretty things. Shiny, as they say. And so we draw ever nearer to doom, and we don't realize when we're going to hold back to safety by the Father. I think that's a great metaphor. I love that video of the Father and His patience. And that's what God is, infinite patience, because it would be easy to throw up your arms and say, okay, fall off the edge if you want. But the Father doesn't do that. Just like that Father with those twins, He keeps working, and He gets them dressed and ready for bed, and God bless Him. And He saves, in a metaphoric sense, the children. And I think that's what we have here. We think of ourselves, again, as being as those faithful 99, don't ever leave. And the reality is that all of us are the one. We're always going back and forth between being in the pack and being out of the pack, and off in the wilderness and having to be pulled back and brought back. So we need to keep that pride from our idea of that we are not one of the lost. We are. And back and forth, I think, much of our lives. So that is the point there. But of course, the other side of this mirror, these parables, both of them have this element, this great element, this major part of it actually, is the joy over bringing that child back to the Father. When that Father brings that little child back, and he's got those two little girls there, can you imagine the joy that he has? And that's the joy that God has when He's got His children together. Even though He's working all the time, and He works to bring us back because He loves us and He doesn't want harm for us. And this is a wonderful that we've gone through this whole thing that we've gone through for the last few days about the judgment, right? Now we come into just when we think God's just all about judging us. now we come into this, that God's never going to desert us. And that continues on through the story of the prodigal son. And we'll be talking about that, I think, for the next 2 days, because I love the parable of the prodigal son, as many of you all should already know. But that's what's going on with the lost coin and the lost sheep. And it's a wonderful turn as Jesus turns. And we have to remember the turn there, where at the very beginning of 15, where the scribes and the Pharisees are condemning, judging Jesus for associating with the sinners, and they don't even see that they're some of those. They're some of that one out there wandering. They think they're the 99, but guess what, guys? You're off there wandering in the wilderness, and I'm trying to pull you back. Yeah, but you're struggling. That's what those little twins do. They struggle. They don't understand that Dad's trying to keep them safe. So with that, I'm going to let you go. Again, I will be out on the south side of the church this afternoon, 5 to 5:15, doing the drive-through communion. And at some point this afternoon, I will have tomorrow's devotion up on YouTube if you want to cheat and look ahead. You can do that, or you can wait and listen to Clint in the morning. Your choice. All right, I'm going to leave you go. Have a blessed day. And as I always say, please, please be a blessing to someone today. Talk to you later. Hopefully I'll see you through communion. Bye-bye.